Welcome everyone to this Euroclusters talk. Meeting the Euroclusters this time. We're going to dig a bit deeper and meet some of the Euroclusters and talk with them. Initiatives for the green and digital, to learn about their activities, to hear about upcoming opportunities for Europe's SMEs. You know, there are 30 Euroclusters, so we're going to talk to some of them. This is the latest EU Clusters Talk, a bi-weekly event by the European Cluster Collaboration Platform, ECCP, on behalf of DG GROW at the European Commission. My name is Chris Burns, and welcome. We're going to be getting some news first from the ECCP, then we'll hear from the European Commission about the Euroclusters, and then a panel of the clusters themselves from different sectors, Q&A, with me, with you. We want to get you involved, and then we'll hear some funding opportunities. So stay tuned for that. Tech tips, questions via the Q&A button at the bottom, or you see the button at the bottom, you can raise your hand. You can also write things in the chat. Keep an eye on the chat because there's a lot of good activity there among all of us there. And there are a lot of you today. It's really great to see that. Hashtag EU Clusters Talks, if you'd like to cast that wider on the social networks, and we'd love you to do that. Hashtag EU Clusters Talks. And this is going to be recorded for playback. So let's get started right away with Nina Hoffman, team member of the European Cluster Collaboration Platform, with some news for you. Nina.
Thank you very much, Chris, and welcome everybody to today's Clusters Talk. We get you started with some news regarding Ukraine, since this continues to be a very hot topic. Integration of Ukrainian SMEs in the EU single market. The single market program has announced 2 new calls for proposals that could be very interesting for clusters and cluster networks to facilitate the integration of Ukrainian SMEs into the EU single market, and another call to support young Ukrainian entrepreneurs. So 2 relevant calls to build stronger economic ties between the EU and Ukraine, and also to provide support to Ukrainian companies.
Yeah, Nina, we've had a lot of really good young talent, Ukrainian talent we've talked with, different SMEs and cluster activity over there in Ukraine. So it's really good to connect with them through this.
Exactly. There are already existing ties, of course, and this is also an opportunity to build new projects around this. You see both calls are published, of course, on the Funding and Tenders portal, and more information is also published on the European Cluster Collaboration Platform, so you can have a look at that. And in similar lines, we also want to remind you, of course, of the event in Košice, our Clusters Meet Regions workshop to build EU-Ukrainian business relations. Will take place on the 29th and 30th of March, so you still have time to register and to come. It will be a very high-level event with officials from the European Commission, from Slovakia, from Ukraine, with panel discussions, pitching sessions, between matchmaking, and also site visits in different fields regarding potential EU and Ukrainian collaboration. So we invite you warmly to come to this event. And last but not least, in case you've already seen it, if not, save the date for the European Tourism Day, which will take place again, this time on the 5th of May in Brussels. And it's an opportunity to take stock of EU tourism policy, look at the development of the tourism transition pathway, so also the topic of green and digital transition, and to share best practices. And you will hear I think a lot of interesting examples, plus there will be an exchange of the Commissioner Thierry Breton for the internal market with tourism stakeholders in a dedicated opening session. So also a very interesting event that we would like to invite you to. And with that, back to you, Chris.
Great, yeah, I look forward to that European Tourism Day because I'm here in Brussels, and so that should be really great. Let's move on to an intro from the European Commission. Marek Przeor, team leader of cluster policy at DG GROW European Commission. Marek, you're with us with all of these clusters, and now it's good to hear from you about exactly how this works and the importance of it before we talk to some of the panelists. Go ahead, Marek.
Thank you, Chris. Indeed, I'm responsible for cluster policy in DG Grow, and the Euroclusters is our flagship project in our DG, and our European Commission strive for developing cluster policy in the EU. Next slide, please. So basically, while at the same time, many of you are members of clusters, probably of Euroclusters in this endeavor, and the implementation of the project should be in line with the terms of reference. And every one of you, I'm sure, have the project officer who is taking care of you from the our executive agency, ASMIA. I would like to recall the policy context of this and why we are doing this all together. So first of all, we had in March 2020 the Commission adoption of the industrial strategy with a focus on twin, green, and digital transition. And then, of course, lockdown pushed us to revise this. And actually, in May 2021, we adopted the updated industrial strategy, and it drew 3 key lessons from the crisis. First of all, about the essential need to uphold the single market. The single market, we had the 30th anniversary this year of the single market, and we all know how important it is. Sometimes we underestimate the achievements while we are passing through the borders, while we are exchanging goods, while we are having roaming for free. I mean, we don't, we take it for granted. It's just not.
We do. We take it for granted that there are studies about what if we didn't have it, and it would be disastrous. So we really do need it, and to make it work through this industrial policy.
And lockdown actually showed when, there were some attempts to close the borders where the disruption happened. So strengthening our resistance to disruption is important. And the need to analyze and address strategic dependencies, because we noticed when you can not count on all the world in our global economy, when suddenly something happens, then you have the issues with inputs, and then you cannot produce things. So these are the key lessons that we learned. And of course, we want to accelerate twin, green, and digital transitions, because I mean, there is no doubt about the importance of cheap green energy that we want to have, and being independent, that we want to have digital even more accelerated, which lockdown actually did. So these were the main points. Next slide, please. And we thought the clusters can play a very important role in implementation of this industrial strategy. And we are building on our efforts already in 2014, 2020, when we had very scattered some initiatives like going international, like increasing capacity of clusters in excellence, like linking smart specialization with clusters, and then last but not least, very important, innovation from Horizon Europe. And we carried out the studies we discussed with you during webinars. So on the basis of all this, we concluded that we need to integrate all our efforts, and these efforts are integrated in Euroclusters call, which we actually launched in 2021. In 2021, we had the Info Day. 2022, in September, actually, we had this launch of kickoff last year in September. So now, after 4.5 months, we wanted to have the Grow Talk in order to discuss what are your first experiences, to discuss how we can improve for the future, and see your feedback, so that we know how it is going. So next slide, please. So in Euroclusters, actually, we know that no European country, no single cluster, no single company can handle on its own all these issues that we are having. We believe that Euroclusters as interdisciplinary and cross-sectoral consortia are a step ahead to create a broader community across EU stakeholders. And this way, we want to have build resilience in industrial ecosystems and among industrial ecosystems. And then, as you can see, we have 30 Euroclusters, 171 partners from 23 different countries. So we are creating, like building the very much ecosystem in Europe with clusters. And if you can see at the left bottom corner, there is a building resilience and accelerating transition to green and digital economy. These are the main object, the overall objective of Euroclusters, and we want to do it through elements which we identified as main core for resilience building. So networking, innovating, adopting, training, and outreach. So next slide, please. So if we go as well to specific objectives, so very clear in recent years, we have recognized that our capacity to deal with supply chain disruptions boils out essentially the mastery of technologies. And if you are able to find substitutes very quickly, like we were able to develop vaccines very quickly, it's something that so we need to strive for innovation, and but innovation is only when it's applied. So Euroclusters have to support SMEs in accelerating the uptake of these solutions. That's why we want SMEs to be main financial beneficiaries of our support and actually maximize the possibility of a quick and smooth uptake of innovation. And then breakthrough green and digital transition technologies are essential driver for our policy right now. Data, chips, hydrogen, batteries, renewables are key transformative technologies, but they need to build upon and have skills to develop and put in place. So that's why we put emphasis on training, on reskilling and upskilling. And we have incredible assets in Europe, highly qualified engineers, excellence in research, quality infrastructure, solid manufacturing base, and a strong service sectors. And we have assets like clusters. This is very unique as well in the world. We have cluster community. So we need these clusters as well. We want them to come together in order to build potential for internationalizations. And last but not least, communicate of what you are doing. We had a dedicated session on this during our kickoff, how important it is. People need to know about your successes. They need to understand and be aware of potential of clusters in regional governments, in economic ministries. So only this way we can disseminate good practices and accelerate the uptake of good solutions across the EU. So finally, finalizing, we expect that Euroclusters play a significant role in the economic recovery and our long-term economic success. This is what we want with Euroclusters to accelerate the twin green transition and digital transition. But we expect clusters to work with each other. We work with other cluster organizations and their members to promote the possibility of building the world-class clusters and be competitive globally. And then third, develop and implement supporting measures for our companies in and beyond your industrial ecosystem. So by doing this, create and reinforce vital collaboration networks at EU level. Right now, we are in the process of implementation. We are planning already the call for 2024. So your feedback, how it works, what are your experiences are very helpful at this stage so that we can launch the call in 2024. We are starting drafting this. So happy to hear from your experience. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Marek. And yes, to everyone, to the panelists, to all of you watching, that's what we're interested in finding out more about what you're thinking about this. This is obviously an effort by the European Commission to decentralize this and to encourage initiative, local initiative, regional initiative, sectoral initiative in making this green transition happen and making it profitable for SMEs. Let's move on then to the panel discussion. Let's begin with Eva Rekosh. What I'd like to do is to do a quick lightning round of who you are, what you do, and then we'll go dig a bit deeper into the questions about Euroclusters. Eva, you're with Mazovia Cluster ICT. Tell us about it.
Well, good morning. Thank you very much for the invitation. I'm very impressed with the number of participants. It's really
a lot today. It's great.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I represent Ingenious, the consortium of 4 clusters from different sectors. Mazovia is ICT. BalticNet Plasma Tech is obviously plasma, and Nano Progress from Germany is nanotechnology, plus Metal Industry 4. It's a gold cluster from Spain. What we do with the Ingenious, we concentrate on energy intensive industries.
Okay, very good. All right, let's move on to Josep Casamada, AEI Textiles. Tell us about you and what you do.
Well, I'm Josep Casamada. I'm responsible for European projects at AEI Textiles, which is the Catalan cluster of advanced textile materials. We are now in the Euroclusters coordinating one project, cross-BU, and we are partners in another Eurocluster called Eurobustex. So we have been working in the past in the previous programs that Mari presented from InnoSoup, coordinating one InnoSoup, coordinating one cluster excellence, and coordinating one cluster co-international. So we have been a little bit everywhere and now taking all the experience into the Euroclusters.
Okay, great. We'll hear a little bit more about that later. Loic Marin, Siemens Gemstone Eurocluster. Loic, where are you talking from? Where are you speaking from?
Yeah, I speak in a dark room now, so some light problems. Yeah, I'm Loic Marin. I'm the European cluster, European project manager in SIM, which is a cluster dedicated to smart manufacturing and industry of the future located in Auvergne-Rhône-Alpes.
Okay.
So we have several experiences in European project, and we are coordinating the project Gemstone with 6 other partners across Europe, from Poly MC2 in France, Mecatech in Belgium, Poolnet in Portugal, ClusterMech in Italy, GreenTech Latvia in Latvia, and the last one, the Metal Processing Cluster in Poland.
Okay, great. That's the beauty of the single market. You can all work together across 6 countries. Marta Krakowiak, Dzień dobry, European Lighting Cluster Alliance. Give me some lightning.
Hello, Chris. Good morning. I'm here to solve lighting problems.
That's what we need.
I'm a project manager of the European Lighting Cluster Alliance. It's the European association gathering the lighting clusters from 5 countries in Europe, and here I represent as coordinator the Sile Eurocluster, where we build a very strong partnership between lighting and furniture clusters to support the small medium-sized enterprises in this sector.
Okay, great. This is great. I want to come back to each of you. Some of you have slides to show. That's great. And for all of you watching and listening, please do put in your questions and comments in the chat, in the Q&A. You see those buttons and those boxes around on the screen there for you. So please don't hesitate. We want all of you to be involved and get to as many questions as we can. Let's come back to Eva Rakosh of Mazovia Cluster ICT. Eva, what challenges do you face as far as that goes?
Well, with Ingenious, we identified 7 challenges for our activities, and we will build. I mean, we are building the project activities around these challenges. What we did, maybe I will tell a little bit about the project. It's a 3-year project, and as I mentioned, it's 7 challenges. We will have one open call, which we launch in May, and we will award 6 to 9 innovation projects with innovation grants for 60,000 euros each. Another grants we offer to our SMEs are the internationalization, which are 2,500 euros, and training vouchers. We decided that each of the awarded projects, each of the awarded SMEs will have to participate in obligatory training, which is the resilience, preparedness, and business continuity. For us, it's one of the most important topics in our scope of our project. So, with coming back to a part of the grants and trainings, we will have 8 workshops dedicated to challenges, and I am proud to announce that we had our first workshop yesterday with 46 participants from different Euroclusters, from different networks. That shows that the cooperation, the cross-border, cross-sector collaboration works. Within the Ingenious project, we will also have a staff training. We are building our own website with a submission tool, and right now we are almost done with all the documents for the open call. Coming back to the challenges, what we did, we went through the Green Deal. We went through our long-term national long-term strategies and specific programs for green and digital transition. We also identified the challenges and lapses in energy-intensive industries value chain. So what we are concentrating on are the efficient and sustainable decarbonization processes, technology improvement and or product innovation for digital transition, technology improvement and or product innovation for green transition, closing loops for efficient and sustainable process, then safer and more efficient energy transition and energy supply assurance, plus advanced materials leading to competitive higher sustainability and digitalization. And the last but not least, the new to firm solutions and business strategies to face the challenges, to overcome the EU external dependency. Because from interviews with our members, we learned that that was the biggest, outside Europe dependency on the supply was one of the biggest problems in our members' business. So we want to also concentrate on this one.
Okay, great. Thank you, Eva. I see that your Eurocluster works on drones, smart uniforms for first responders, right? Augmented reality, data intelligence.
Yes.
A lot of interesting stuff that you work on. Very good. Perhaps we can hear more about that later. Josep Casamada at AEI Textiles. Tell us a little bit of how that works for you. You got companies in the value chain of the advanced textile materials sector in Catalonia, but also other organizations supporting that innovation. How does that work as a cluster?
So as a cluster, we are working with a lot of collaborations with a really core group of textile clusters in Europe, which are Ateval and the Portuguese textile cluster, which we work with them in the 2 Euroclusters actually. And then we integrate different technologies with different projects. So in Crossville EU, what we have is advanced technologies from IBM in Ireland, and construction technologies in Slovenia with a construction cluster in Slovenia. The main idea is to facilitate and connect our members. So basically the clusters at the end of the days are worth because you provide connections, useful connections among different sectors and opportunities, because you have to think textiles are everywhere. So there is no place where there are no textiles. Besides the clothing, there is in construction, you have in insulation, in furniture, in reinforcement, in composite. So we have textile materials everywhere. And that's what we want to visualize with these projects, and with Cross-Build EU, it's a way to do that. And for that, we are connecting the European innovation ecosystem. We are going to launch different calls for proposals for this to support, innovate, facilitate the green and digital transition, because it's something really interesting here. And in this particular voucher, we are going to connect companies from textile construction or textile construction with advanced manufacturing, so that they can drive the digital and green transition interregionally.
What's one, Josep, what's one challenge that you face? And of course, the European Commission wants to, Marek and company want to listen closely about what challenges there are for the clusters and how to overcome them. Can you mention one?
Yeah, in terms of challenges, that I think is that it's companies are small, really small. So you have plenty of small companies, some medium, and very, very few large companies. So medium companies are autonomous in finding solutions, but small companies need a lot of support, and that's where they benefit more from being part of a cluster.
Okay, great. So you are helping them overcome their challenges, right? Okay, let's move on to Loic Marin, and it's great to see all those some questions coming in, and to see the Ukrainian cluster is connected among many other countries. Welcome, Ukraine. Loic Marin, CMIS Gemstone, Eurocluster. You work in 5 sectors: aeronautics, agriculture, agri-food materials, in the green transition. Yeah, tell us about that, and maybe one challenge that you face that either you still face or you've overcome one.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity first. So yes, I'm the coordinator of the project Gemstone. So as you said, we are addressing 5 priority sectors, but we are more addressing the overall manufacturing ecosystem across Europe, because we want to address as many SMEs as possible. So our ambition is simple. We want to support manufacturing SMEs across Europe in their green transition initiative. Because
doing that, you're working in 6 countries, right?
We are, yeah,
Partners.
we have 7 partners from 6 countries across Europe.
Okay.
So that's, and we cover Europe from Portugal to Latvia. So we have a large range of countries.
Wow.
So the ambition is simple, but and how we will implement this ambition with many opportunities that are addressed first to the SMEs, but also, of course, to the cluster. So in the coming days, we are going to publish our strategic roadmap, will be the strategic backbone of our project, actually, to which most of the activities that are coming will refer to. For example, the awareness raising workshops that we are going to launch this month. So these workshops are dedicated to SMEs, but also to cluster representative. And we are going to address the concept and approaches of green manufacturing. So it is open to anyone, and you are more than welcome to attend these workshops. Also, in March, we are going to start the resilience diagnosis. What does it mean? We are going to meet our SMEs across Europe in our ecosystem to say, okay, you have needs, especially in green transition. We are going to identify these needs with you, and we are going to support you in order to deal with these needs and to find the right solution for you. So the solution can be a training, can be an internationalization action, can be an innovation, a technological development. And it makes the links. We are going to make as much as possible the link with these diagnoses with our open calls that I'm going to describe a bit later. Okay. Also, in May, we are going to launch the capacity building sessions. So we have made one in February, but the rest of the cycle will be open to all the Eurocluster representatives in order to develop a European committee around green manufacturing concepts. So you will receive the information soon. We are working on the cycle of the sessions. And the last but not least, we are going to create in September a European Cluster Alliance for Green Manufacturing. It will be a new network that we don't want to compete with the already existing network, but we want to be complementary with all this sector. And we want to be like a federation of clusters, because clusters have a specific identity, and we want to push this identity a bit further regarding green manufacturing. And now for the open calls, which is the most interesting information, especially for the SMEs.
Yeah.
So we have 4 open calls. So the starting date, it is said September 2023, but maybe for Explore and Train, it will be a bit earlier. It's still in discussion with the partners. So we are going to fund companies, SMEs, to participate in business fair and international events, especially in North America, Japan, and the countries of ASEAN. The 10 countries, I won't describe all of them, but the 10 countries of ASEAN. We are going also to fund training for the SMEs. And in September, we are going to open the 2 calls for innovation and adoption of technology. So we will send you the information really soon. And today, before to close my presentation, I just want to say that at the national level in France, we have a working group with many partners of Euroclusters. Most of them are Pôle de Compétitivité, Competitiveness Cluster. So this morning, it is my pleasure to share the opportunities of several other projects that are developed by these partners. I will be quick. There's 1 slide per project, and you have the contact of the people that you have to contact if you are interested in this project and open call. So the first one is MetaStars. The next one, so please contact Maud from Aerospace.
And those watching this, they can see those slides later, right? They can go back to them if they want.
Yeah,
right?
when it will be shared.
Okay.
So Silicon Europe.
Yeah, it will be shared.
I just want to say all the project. It was my word to my partners. So Silicon Euroclusters. Another one will be, the next one is the project Resist.
Okay.
Related to automotive and transport.
Oh yeah, we talked about that last time. Yeah, Resist. Yeah. Vehicle of the future, right?
The next one is Suave, related to urban agriculture and sustainable growth. Next one is Dream for advanced manufacturing with Paul SCS as coordinator.
A lot of great initiatives there. Yeah.
Be resilient.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess there's 2 more, which are PMAP for sustainability related to photonics. And the last one is eBoots related to electromobility. So please contact all these people if you are interested in their project and their open calls. Thank you for the opportunity to share also this project.
Great, merci. Merci beaucoup, Loïc Nara. Thank you very much. Thank you. Now, let's see. I'd like to open this out to questions. I do see a couple of them, and then I'll have a few questions of my own after that. Let's see. There was one question about Horizon. Where was this? And please don't hesitate to put your questions in the Q&A section, or you can also put them in the chat if you like. How do you make sure to leverage synergies with Horizon Europe? That's from Tina. Not sure who can answer. Maybe possibly Marek, or How do you make sure leveraging synergies with Horizon Europe, maybe among you clusters, you've found ways to do that? Obviously, Horizon Europe, that's a huge budget, almost 100 billion over 7 years. How are you working that? Maybe Marek, you want to take that first?
To be honest, I would be happy to hear from Euroclusters.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay.
Because we have pillars with pillar 2 of Horizon, which is global challenges and European industrial competitiveness, and they are covering health, cultures, digital industry, and so they are covering things which are very relevant for industrial ecosystems. And when we have Euroclusters, that's to tell you, single market program is the program which is 4 billion euro. Half of them is for SME pillar, and out of this we have actually in 2021-27 70-80 million euro for Euroclusters. You can only ignite processes, but the bulk of money is in the Horizon Europe, 80 billion euro, and the European Regional Development Fund. It's not only about synergies with Horizon, but as well with the European Regional Development Fund, where there is 200 billion euro for policy objective, which is related to research and innovation, digitalization, SME entrepreneurship, and skills building. Exactly this. So this is very much about the Euroclusters to monitor the calls, how they are launched on indirect management from Horizon Europe or from other funds which are sometimes neglected, like defense fund, like Health for Europe, like innovation fund. They are from Europe as well, and the synergies. Now the question about synergies is always, people are asking synergies. Synergies can happen at strategic level when you want to achieve something, can happen at operational level. And I think Euroclusters can, on strategic level, they are already clearly steered in the direction of strategic synergy with the Horizon, but on operational level they must link with others. And I think, given the fact that this networking is happening, it gives as well the opportunity to bring to create new consortia which can easily apply for Horizon and have really the advantage of applying, because you start knowing each other.
Let me go over. Thanks, Marek. Let me go over to Marta Krakowiak. Back to you, the European Lighting Cluster Alliance. And by the way, thank you for providing light for Loic, if that's what you did. Maybe you got a couple things to present there, I think. But on this synergies with Horizon Europe, can you say anything about that from where you're working?
Thank you, Chris. Synergies with Horizon is, in fact, one part of the activities that we are providing for the companies, because in the CILEO, where we will not only provide trainings, but also try to lead the companies through the green and digital transition, searching for the right cause from Horizon is one part of the service that we'll offer. So the synergy is, let's say, more or less natural in this case. And I will also very shortly present the project, and because I have a great pleasure of leading it with the great partners from the lighting sector, like the CICAT Catalonia Lighting Cluster, Luce in Veneto, the lighting cluster from the Veneto region, Cluster Lumiere from France, and also strongly supported by, let's say, our bigger brothers and sisters from the furniture value chain, Cluster Arredo, Friuli Venezia Giulia from Italy, Transylvanian Furniture Cluster, and also Building Innovation Cluster from Upper Austria. And as you all know, that more or less the Euroclusters have more or less the same structure. Here, the biggest struggle that we have identified is also, as Joseph highlighted, we represent mainly micro and small companies. Of course, we have also medium ones and big players in our value chain, but the biggest part of the members of our clusters are small and, as I said, micro companies, very often artisans, very often at the family elite. So they might be even very interested in digitalization or in the green transition, the big words that everybody are repeating to them. but what they are looking for is for the immediate solutions or the very simple information on the cost benefit or how shall they invest to remain competitive. And so this is what we are focusing in our project, to help them with very direct and concrete customized answers. So we are not providing them with the general macro strategies, but let's say customized plans and solutions and information, in particular, what they have to do step by step and how much it will cost, how much they will have to invest, and what is the time to invest and how they will earn from it, what they will gain from it, in order to digitalize, to become more greener, more circular in offering the best products they have. And another challenge is also, as it was also mentioned, the problem in identifying the raw materials. For example, we are here working with wood, we are here working with the microchips, we are working from the lighting sector, from the furniture sector. We need to help them differentiate their supply chain, and also let's say understand how to find solutions to replace the materials they need, and how to find a good business partnership, keeping the artisanry craftsmanship and the quality they represent. So this is mainly the way how we oriented the project. And then of course we have our call for proposals that will, I hope the first one is going to open the end of March, beginning of April. That will help companies to let's say to make the first steps toward this digital and green transitions with help of the selected pool of facilitators. So we are not leaving them alone. We're giving them the mentors who will lead this in this endeavor.
Okay, very good. I guess we can open this out to questions at this point for anyone. I do see one coming from Laura Sanchez. Do SMEs wanting to participate in the calls need to be members of the project consortium? Who would like to answer that? Eva, perhaps?
It's not an obligation, but it's always a plus, since the Euroclusters are cross-border and cross-sectoral. That all the SMEs can participate, but they have to be a member of any cluster. Doesn't mean the consortium cluster partners, but clusters from Europe or participating countries.
Okay. Would anybody else like to add to that at that point?
Yeah, we are, let's say, focusing mainly on the members of our clusters who are partner Euroclusters, but we have also the, let's say, not only mandatory obligation from the call, but also our wish to open it to the external companies, small and medium-sized enterprises coming from, as Eva said, all other COSME single market program related partners and countries. So all the small and medium-sized enterprises, if they have the requirements set in our guides for applicants, are more than welcome to apply with their proposals.
Okay. There's a question from Tina again.
Chris, if I may,
yes,
add
Marek,
to this.
go ahead.
The point is that we want to be inclusive. So we don't want to create a elitistic group of people who are working on something.
Of course.
And it's very probable that in the whole issues of the value chain that you might have SMEs which are not part of your consortium, but can still provide solutions. So being closed would disable this opportunity to find out the ones SMEs which can have opportunity to join the Eurocluster or join the cluster community as well. So it's as well kind of development policy for us to have this access for other SMEs, particularly the ones who can complement and bring added value.
The more the merrier, right, Marek?
Yeah, exactly.
All right. How about another question from Tina? Are clusters involved in the definition of transition pathways for European industrial ecosystems? Are clusters involved in the definition of transition pathways?
I can respond to this if you.
Okay. Go ahead, Marek.
We have as well industrial forum, and industrial forum clusters play a very important role. We have curator, who is in each industrial ecosystem, and the president of the European Cluster Alliance, Antonio Novo, is in there. Yesterday was a meeting, and the transition pathways is one of the elements for this, and they are stakeholders consultation, open stakeholders consultation, so everyone, not only clusters, can participate if they want. But we have a structured way to incorporate the needs of the clusters into the transition pathway, or needs or not feedback from clusters for transition pathways.
Right. Okay, let's go to another question from Leo, EU project manager at Systemic in the Paris region. Thank you for the interesting talks. Is the funding rate of the Euroclusters projects 100% for cluster partners? Is the funding rate 100%? Who would like to answer that? Anybody?
I may.
Okay.
For the grants, the funding scheme is 100%. Yeah, for the projects in funded by within the Eurocluster project. So it's 100%.
Okay. That's very encouraging.
100% for the SMEs, but 90% for the partners. If you want to be partner of the Eurocluster, because I think the question of, I don't remember the name, was for the partners, it is 90%.
From Leo to Leo, okay. I
Oh,
hope that
I
answered your question.
For the SMEs, okay.
Okay, another question. Are the other types of cluster members, large firms, RTOs, public authorities involved in the clusters projects? If yes, how? Are the other types of cluster members, large firms, RTOs, public authorities involved in the Euroclusters projects?
In our case, the RTOs, the academia will act as the facilitators to support companies in uptaking the technologies, advanced technologies, or the digitalization services. So they will be engaged indirectly as mentors or supporters, facilitators, consultants. Then the public authorities that are members of our clusters will be engaged in the promotion and communication activities of the course and all the services that will launch for the small medium-sized enterprises. They are not, let's say, receivers of the support through the financial support to third parties. So they are not the main target stakeholders for the calls. But they are engaged in the activities that accompany are accompanying the whole process. In our case, at least for Sileo.
Okay. I need to ask this question for all of the panelists, and I'm watching for other questions from the audience. Should there be, as we're winding down, we have at least another, well, we got a bit of time. Should there be a second Eurocluster call from the European Commission? What is your feedback for the preparation of such a call? Should there be a second Eurocluster call from the European Commission? And what is your feedback? Okay, shall we start, let's see, with Josep, maybe?
Yeah, of course. I would say that it's a clear yes, that there should be another call, because it's a really interesting tool for supporting the SMEs, particularly micro and small companies. Because I think cascade funding is a really good opportunity for them to reach to European funds, which sometimes it's really difficult for small companies to get involved with, because there's a thought to 15 people company to go European funds, and it's really difficult for them to go alone. But if there's a mechanism like cascade funding, which the Euroclusters promote, it's really useful for that. So it's a real yes for a second call. And in terms of potential things that could be improved, maybe it's the magnitude. So increasing the size, maybe not having that many Euroclusters and having twice bigger each Eurocluster, because that allows us to have more outreach. Because from my previous experience coordinating Galactica, which was an InnoSoup, which was a 5 million euros project with 3 million cascade funding, 10 partners, it was we reach out to almost every country in Europe. While being a Eurocluster with a small budget and everything reduced, it's more difficult to reach out to that much level. Also, the resources to do so.
Okay, let me move to Marta. What do you think about that, about a second call?
Absolutely for it. Very, as Josep said, very useful instrument to engage small, medium-sized enterprises. Are the cascade for cascade funding is a bit less competitive for them, less difficult to approach than normal standard calls. But I also agree, and I think that all my colleagues here will agree, that the second call should balance a bit better the division between the budget designated addressed to the financial support of third parties and the resources of the partners. Because we have very ambitious programs, very, let's say, challenging activities to provide. And we are giving the lion part of the cake to the companies, and then we'll have very small resources to manage this. So most of the clusters that are coordinators and partners engaged are put much more effort than it was originally estimated in the project. And I will also suggest, because now the Euroclusters are like 4 small projects in one. We have following, let's say, implementing the activities from the excellence, from the Go International, from the smart specialization and InnoSoups in one. And it's a lot. As usually we are focused on projects that have like 1 main topic or 2 main topics. Here we are covered 4. I will suggest also maybe to give some strands, or maybe to select some priorities without putting everything inside, because in some way it gives the good opportunities in each of this field, but from the other side it's a bit limited because of course of the budget that must be designated to all. So this is my suggestion, maybe not put everything, not try to concentrate as much as possible, but give 1 or 2 priorities, and then maybe leave partners a bit of freedom to add some additional activities that they feel they are the most needed.
Okay, well, Loic, I see you nodding a lot on that. Do you agree, or anything to add on that? I mean, I guess we all agree on that. There should be a second call, but how do you prepare for it?
Yeah, there should be a second call, of course, because that's really cool also to have a specific call dedicated to to the cluster, because we are key organization in the industrial ecosystem, and to have a call specifically dedicated to us, that's a very good opportunity. So yes, I'm completely in favor of a second call, but with some, let's say, modifications. There are demanding, actually, there are projects really demanding, really ambitious, which is really cool to have ambitious projects. But we need more time, more budget to implement all of it, because as Marta said, we need to focus on all the topics that are in the call. So to be able to choose 1 or 2 priorities on which we want to focus more could be a way to spend more time on activities that we are more dealing with, and also could be also an interesting proposal to have a better help for the European Commission. I will explain myself. For example, in this kind of project with the FSTP, for example, FSTP is really time demanding to implement, to write the guide of applicants, to find the submissions platform, to implement all the information in the submission platforms, etc. So, for example, if we have already a common submission platform which is managed by the European Commission, it could be a way for us to put this aside and not to focus and to spend time on this activity. To have, for example, FSTP template that could be also a way for the partners to not to write from scratch every time in every new project, a new document. So there is some modification to do, but of course I'm completely in favor, and I'm looking forward to the second call in order to apply.
Okay, great. And Eva, what's your word on that? And I guess you probably agree, second call, but how do you prepare?
Well, yes, I do agree, and with three of my colleagues. Money is the first issue, as everybody mentioned, and as Mark knows, that we will always ask for more money. That's well, that's our role in this project, to have more resources to work comfortably. It's not well, yeah, let's finish. For me, from the kickoff meeting in Brussels, for me, all the Euroclusters presented during this meeting, we all have the same objectives, we all have the same tasks, and it's boring, you know, that the call papers, call documents were so precise and so detailed that there was no room for us to add something from ourselves, because there were like actions obligatory, which were obligatory, and we, while writing the proposals, we were like, oh my God, what if we just leave one out? What's going to happen? We are not going to get the financing. So for me, maybe the second call should give a little bit more freedom for the consortia to create their project. It's my opinion. For me, it was it was very difficult not to copy paste while writing the proposal. Okay, because it was just, plus the money, plus it is a demanding project. It's yeah, 3 programs or even 4 programs in one. That's a lot.
Yeah.
But it's a good tool, that I agree, and we all agree on that. That it is a great tool, but needs some some justification.
Okay, great. But before I go to Marek, just to remind everybody, we do have a bit of time for more Q&A or comments. I'm closely watching the chat and the Q&A button there at the bottom that you can click on and put in your questions. Great to hear from you. And this is also in the chat, it's a great networking tool as well. Marek, there was a lot of feedback in there. What's your feedback on the feedback?
It's always for us to keep the balance between different views, and I will only refer to some. I'm not going to hear. I take notes of the feedback. We are designing the new one. Just I quote the call, if you allow me, for the fact of the specific objectives. So Euroclusters applying to this call are expected to address all 5 specific objectives. Euroclusters can, however, place a specific focus on one or more of the mandatory actions. This is what is already in the scope. So I don't know how can I change it. This is one. Another about prescriptive. I have as well voices why we were not prescriptive, giving how the plans for resilience should be drafted. We left it for you to develop, actually. So I have, on the other hand, I have as well voices why you were not telling us how to do it and what we wanted to be doing. So it's about really having the balance between different voices. This is what we are trying to do. Money, I agree, we don't have as much funding as in Innovate 1. This project really spoiled colleagues in Euroclusters in Europe. Cluster facilitated project, very good project. The thing is that there are no instruments like European Innovation Council, like so there was the the trade-off. But I think if you consider that Euroclusters, as you do, is the one that we are defining now the next call, which we want to publish next year, and we will take into account your feedback as much as possible. But as I said, we need to strike the balance between different needs, as well the needs of our executive agency, of efficiency and effectiveness of running the projects. So it's always a trade-off.
What about that, the point from Eva about allowing more creativity, flexibility? What do you think about that?
I mean, we are always for flexibility, particularly in innovation, to the extent that all the rules need to be kept in order to avoid the obvious things like it's public funding, it's public money, and we are very much under scrutiny. So there must be some rules. It's not that free money.
Right. Okay. Well, let's go to another question from the audience, from Ariane. Is there a similar call coming up for Euroclusters or Go International? Go International.
No, in this financial perspective, we don't foresee the specific call for Go International. It will be embedded in the Euroclusters.
Okay, very good. Let's see if we have, I think we do have more questions here. Is it expected to have, again, other calls like COSME Cluster, the Go International, Cluster X change, or will Euroclusters 2024 completely replace these calls? I think that's another one to Matek, probably, right?
I mean, as I said, it's not replacing. It's like integrating this course in one Eurocluster.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if we had the big budget, we could play. We have this budget that we need to focus and concentrate.
Okay.
And one of the main things is actually the bringing together the clusters from Europe so that they create the sufficient scope and scale to at EU level. And we, as I said, Euroclusters, and I hope some of the Euroclusters will be the beginning of the big pan-European collaboration, like we have in automotive, like we have in as well now in drones, as well like we have in like Silicon Europe is always a good example. Yeah.
That, by the way, Eva, you're working with drones. How is that working for you as a cluster? How is that offering promise? I mean, obviously, Ukraine would like to see a lot more drones, wouldn't they?
Well, actually, yes, we are working with drones. We also do actually a lot of activities. We do have a lot of activities in Spain. I mean, in space, and well, we are in a constant contact with Ukraine. So we unfortunately we had to postpone our a project which we had with Ukrainian Space Agency on a huge project for
because of the conflict, probably, right? Because of the war.
Well, yes, unfortunately.
But there must be other opportunities. We have the Ukrainians with us, so the Ukrainian cluster is connected with us today. So hopefully.
Oh yeah, well, we've been in Ukraine. My cluster has been present in Ukraine for many years. I would say 15 or since the beginning. So we are doing a lot of projects with Ukrainian SMEs, with Ukrainian enterprises. We actually there are some Ukrainian SMEs which are with our members in a consortia for national calls. So yes, we are supporting them. We are supporting them as much as we can. The same we also encourage in the ingenious. We are encouraging Ukrainian SMEs to participate in the open call. There are some webinars scheduled for for Ukrainian participants. So stay tuned, visit our profile on social media to see the dates and information about it.
Okay, very good. I can take a couple more questions if you want to put them in the Q&A or in the chat. Here's one from Pirko. How are SMEs able to find the different calls from 30 different Euroclusters? Is there some kind of centralized information point?
Let me respond to this. I mean, this is the third party financing. So it's not European Commission is delegating kind of it's not delegating. It's the beneficiary of the calls for the Commission is the consortium. So this is there are three main points. One point is ECCP, European Cluster Collaboration Platform. This is where we always in news are given information about the calls from Euroclusters. Then there is as well the cluster talks. Come to cluster talks and you will listen and learn about the funding from Euroclusters. So every 2 weeks. So we invite you to the cluster talks.
Yeah.
And then we established at LinkedIn as well the group of the Euroclusters, which inform. You can join the LinkedIn Eurocluster group, and then the Euroclusters can inform about the cluster calls, the calls.
Okay, very good. I think that. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Eva. Quickly.
Yes,
please.
I just want to mention. I should have mentioned it in the beginning. At the beginning, that the initiative of some Eurocluster was to organize every month to organize peer learning meetings, and we started with actually we're after 3 of them. So during these meetings, we share all the informations about the progress, about the challenges, and it's a knowledge sharing meetings. So, and it has been successful. It's going well. It brings more opportunities for collaboration. So it is always to and we always put the outcomes of these meetings on our social media. So but I agree with Marek that this is the consortium partners responsibility to inform about the calls, about other Eurocluster calls. And this is what I've already prepared for my members, to a short presentation, a short information about other Euroclusters and the calls, because ICT, like in our case, ICT is horizontal. So we are almost in every value chain. And for example, we have a very strong group in creative industries. So I already passed them the info about the Eurocluster on creative industries. So they will definitely follow this Eurocluster.
Okay, I see, Josep, you're raising your hand there. A quick word.
It's also some of the cluster responsibility to track the different opportunities for their members, and that's something that we have been doing for a while already, tracking all the different opportunities on cascade funding related to that. For instance, in our case, where textile companies could benefit from, we monitor them through the participant portal. There is a section on the participant portal specifically for cascade funding, where you can see all the open calls from Single Market Program, Horizon Europe, Horizon 2020, and any other calls that it's open. And it's, for us, it's a tool to inform and keep updated to our members. So it's not only finding other Euroclusters calls, but finding any other call which may fall in Horizon Europe, in Horizon 2020, in other programs as well. So it's a really good tool to track and added value for the members, that you inform them proactively of the different calls and opportunities.
Okay, very good. I think we need to wrap this up and go to the funding opportunities, but thanks very much, Josep, Eva, Loic, Marta, and for all of you putting your input and your questions. Lots of good points well taken. I just saw Enrico's there, point well taken. Let's move on then to the funding opportunities. Nina Hoffman, team member again of the European Cluster Collaboration Platform. What you got, Nina?
We touched upon the funding and how do SME calls. So I'm going to share with you the Eurocluster calls that have opened now in the next few slides. As the colleagues said, there will be many upcoming opportunities of calls for SMEs being published. So keep an eye out on the European Cluster Collaboration Platform, where you will find the information about the published calls. And what has opened as funding for SMEs provided by Euroclusters are the following. The first one is Social Tech for EU call for social enterprises in Europe. This is financial support for training, up to 3,000 euros related to training for ICT, emerging technologies for the social economy, open innovation, business administration, marketing, and sales. So applicants can be social enterprises or startups with a social mission or impact. Deadline to apply for this call is the 14th of April. And if you click on the chat, the link chat that my colleague puts in, you will get more information about this call, and you will also be guided to the application documents. The next one open is from the Eurocluster ICUT, tourism call for SMEs. It's a call in order to support the purchase of services regarding the following areas that you see listed here with different limits to the funding. You have support for business model creation, acceleration, open innovation, digital, sustainable, and inclusive technology, funding opportunities, internationalization, and training. This is the call specifically for SMEs from the tourism industrial ecosystem with a deadline of the 20th of April. And have a look at the call in detail by clicking in the link in the chat or go to the European Collaboration Platform under the menu tab Open Calls. Next one, Be Resilient. We've seen this Eurocluster already presented by Loic on food producing and processing SMEs. This is support for traveling, lump sums for covering costs too. For example, the bioeconomy and bio-waste investment brokerage event that is being organized in Greece on the 22nd and 23rd of May. The SMEs can apply for this until the 24th of April to go and to matchmake. The next one is from PMAP for Sustainability. As Loic said, directed towards photonics, advanced materials, advanced manufacturing SMEs. They can get support if they want to develop projects in the area of aerospace, metalworking, and industrial production. And they can create activities related in the TRL 5 to 8 for the development of prototypes, test innovative solutions, validate technologies, and other related activity tied to the development of innovative projects. And also the Eurocluster organizes a matchmaking event on the 14th of March. If SMEs are interested, they can register for this. The deadline for the call is the 3rd of May. More information is also published on the European Cluster Collaboration Platform. Metastars has opened a call for innovation services. You also see here in the screen a list of different potential services that can be financed, from green technology development, digitalization, upskilling and reskilling, internationalization, and information system security. This is directed towards SMEs from the aeronautics, space, defense, and ICT sectors to create interlinkages between the aerospace and defense ecosystem with other industrial ecosystems. This call is open for a longer time until the end of this year, but applications will be evaluated on a first-come, first-served basis. So the SMEs should also have a look into this first-come, first-served. published on the ECCP as well. And last but not least, looking into the creative and cultural industries, Create Thrive EU, Eurocluster funds projects for the diversification of projects, services, contents based on digital technologies. For the CCI ecosystem, support the green transition, especially in the audiovisual and multimedia sector, bridging skills gap, promoting the participation of women as well as internationalization. There are different grants available for small scale projects, collaboration pilot projects, and travel grants. The application is open until the 2nd of May and published on the funding intended portal on the ECCP as well. So many opportunities for SMEs in different industrial ecosystem, also cross-industrial ecosystems. So different calls might be interesting for different SMEs. So reach out to your members, and of course, continue the dialogue in the LinkedIn group, general discussion group, where you can also put in your thoughts after this talk about the Euroclusters. We can continue discussing.
Yes, we'd like to hear from all of you. Thank you very much, Nina. This is the latest EU Clusters Talk, bi-weekly event at the European Cluster Collaboration Platform, ECCP. On behalf of DG Grow at the European Commission, those are the next talks. Be sure to register for them. This one is recorded, as they all are, and there will be a report on it. And hashtag EU Clusters Talks for anything you'd like to cast wider. Do register for the Cluster Collaboration Platform. There you go. I'm Chris Burns. Thanks very much for being with us. See you next time.